In my last video, I talked all about pre-emergent strategies and how to prevent grassy weeds like crabgrass from even showing up in your yard. Well, if you look behind me, this gives you a clue about what I'm going to talk about today, and that is post-emergent strategies and how to get rid of weeds before you see them in your lawn. So let's get out of the weeds. Thank you for coming back to another video. If you like these videos, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. I really do appreciate it. So now, as most of us are starting to really kind of come off winter and some of the cold temperatures, and we start to get a little bit more rain, temperatures start rising, we're going to start noticing color through the lawns, and not just green. You may start noticing some other colors like yellow or maybe even purple. And that is going to be some of our broadleaf weeds coming out to play for the season to try to take over your yard. Now, getting on top of these weeds that you see in your lawn early in the season is going to be absolutely critical to helping your lawn long term, because these broadleaf weeds are usually typically really good spreaders. Take dandelions, for example. You start seeing the dandelions start coming out. Next thing you know, you'll get this stinking white puffball, or the seed head of death, which I like to call it, because it means death to your yard. It starts just releasing seeds everywhere, and now you're dealing with dandelions year after year after year. So when you start to see them pop up, you want to take care of them early so that you can help prevent them later. Now, when it comes to weeds like dandelions, I do not recommend trying to pull them out, because dandelions have very deep roots, and if you don't get it all, it can just regenerate and grow back. So what you want to do is put something on it that's going to kill it once and for all. It's very hard to just pluck out a dandelion and be done with it. We've all seen those yards that aren't tended to, and the entire thing is just dandelions. And that can be what can happen, because they can just release so many seeds and just spread all over the place. Now, the thing with dandelions is that sometimes they can actually be hidden in your yard a little bit. You may just from a distance be looking out, see nothing, and then the next day you show up and you just see yellow all over your lawn, and you're like, I didn't even know I had dandelions. Well, part of the reason is dandelions will come out when the sun's out. So if it's not a real nice sunny day, you may not even see all the yellow dandelions there. They're nice, growing kind of in quiet, and then it gets a nice sunny day, and next thing you know, boom, we all start seeing that color, and they're in your yard ready to go. When it comes to post-emergent strategies, you're typically going to be talking about your broadleaf weeds. These are going to be weeds that don't look anything like our good grass. You can look at it and you can have a child look and they can tell that it's not supposed to be there. Those are going to be your broadleaves. Now, a lot of the post-emergent weed control that you're going to find in stores is going to be targeting that. Now, I've talked about it in the past. My favorite weed control to put down for cool season grass is going to be Speed Zone. Now, Speed Zone, you'll buy it in a concentrate. It'll last a really long time. It's really potent and going to just wipe out a lot of our weeds that we're going to see in our cool season lawns. And so it's kind of like the foundational piece that I recommend long term. If you have a lot of weeds to deal with, stepping up and purchasing something like Speed Zone is going to be really beneficial long term. The bottle will last a long time, and you will just wipe out most of the broadleaf weeds that you get in your lawn. Now, the issue that you're going to see with Speed Zone is that it isn't typically going to be found in just your store that you're going to walk into, like your Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, any of those ones. So today, I'm going to focus on two different types of products that you can just walk into the store and get and be able to control those broadleaf weeds that you're seeing in your lawn. So for today, the two types of weed control I'm going to be showing you are going to be concentrate and ready to spray. Now, there's going to be two other types that you're going to typically see in your big box stores, and that's going to be typically in a weed and feed, so a granular version, and then you're also going to see the hose and sprayer. Now, first with weed and feed, I typically don't recommend doing a weed and feed, because what you're doing is you're trying to do too many things at once. You're trying to fertilize your lawn, and you're also trying to take out weeds. So now, for me personally, I like to keep the application separate. I like to put down fertilizer when I'm just trying to give the grass nutrients, and then I like to be targeted with my weeds. I don't want to just put out a bunch of weed control on places where I'm not typically dealing with weeds anyway. Now, those products are fine and they can be very effective, but for me personally, I think it's much easier to just have a targeted approach when it comes to weed control. Now, with hose and sprayers, those are also a very effective method. The reason why I don't typically like them for people starting out in lawns is because it can be hard to understand how quickly the product is emptying. So now if you have a pretty good sized yard, you could go hook that hose and sprayer up, and you may not know how quickly you need to be going through. How quickly is that bottle emptying? And next thing you know, you could be spraying it what's supposed to cover your whole lawn. Next thing you know, you're halfway through and the bottle's gone. So it's really easy to over apply if you're not really taking some precautions and paying attention to how quickly the product comes out. So now if you just have like a real nice small lawn, that could be a great way to do it, and it's a lot easier to control. But if you have a decent sized lawn, I typically wouldn't start with a hose and sprayer method, because I think these other methods are much easier. So taking a look at the label here on this one here, is we have 2,4-D, quinclorac, and dicamba. Now I look at the label on this one here, the ready to spray, and we have 2,4-D, quinclorac, and dicamba. So you can see that these two are essentially targeting the exact same thing. Now the difference is that this, I will put a small amount by using this measuring cup. I will put a small amount of this weed control and mix it in to a gallon sprayer or a backpack sprayer if you have one of those, and then that way I can walk around and then just start spraying the weeds. This here, it's already mixed with water. So not mixed with water, and this one is mixed with water, ready to go. Shake it up, take your gun out, and start firing away at some of the weeds that are in your lawn. So now take a look here at this list of weeds that it controls, and you can see there are a lot of weeds that this product is designed to help control. Lastly, just a couple of tips when it comes to post-emergent weed control. The temperature ranges. You want to typically apply these somewhere in a temperature range of 45 to 90 degrees. You don't want to go too low of the temperature. You go below 45, what's happening is everything's kind of slowing down in the weeds, and so it's not really allowing the weed control to be effective. If you go too hot, past that like 90-degree temperature in the middle of the summer, those can be damaging to your good grass around it as well, and so you're going to see some damage there. The other thing that you want to pay attention to, the different post-emergent weed controls that you put down on your lawn are going to be rain-proof in different lengths of time. So pay attention to the bottle of what you have. Some will say rain-proof in an hour. Some will be 24 hours. So pay attention. In the spring, we tend to get a lot of rain. So what you don't want to do is walk out before it's getting ready to rain here in a couple hours, spray a bunch of weeds, and then you just get downpour. Next thing you know, you're walking around and you're like, why didn't this stuff work? So make sure that you're on a nice day where you're not really expected to get some rain. And finally, if you're growing new grass seed, do not apply weed control to your brand new baby grass that's coming up. You want to be extremely delicate to any new grass seed that you have down. The thing I love about lawn care, especially when it comes to weed control, is that typically your hardest time with weeds are going to be your first couple years, because what you're doing is you're stopping cycles. The work that you're putting in now is going to help you make gains into next year and the year after that, because you're stopping the cycle of weeds. You'll find that so much of our lawn care, what we do, all happens in cycles, whether that's coming to weeds, or that's dealing with fungus, or that's dealing with insects like grubs and some of those. A lot of it you're going to find it's just in cycles. So if you're able to get in there and stop the cycles from some of these pests and nuisances in our lawn, it'll allow you to make great gains into future seasons. So with that, I want to thank you guys for coming back to another video. I'll see you next time when we get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.